Let's tell ourselves the truth now, at least for once. See, I'm going to speak and a lot of people will think I'm speaking like a Biafra, but no, I want us to reason like analytical human beings. The fact is the division of Nigeria with all the indications on ground so far is inevitable. The division of Nigeria is inevitable without implementing the regional system of government. Okay, let's look at the indicators. Number one.
Hello and what's up guys. In this video, a northern man has just sparked serious tension with a bold claim Nigeria will divide soon and the signs are already clear. He says anyone ignoring the obvious is only lying to themselves. According to him, unless we return to regional government, this country is heading for a split. He breaks it down. National insecurity is merely a northern problem, and shockingly, he claims any president that's not from the north who tries to fix it won't even get a second term. That's how deep the resistance runs. He talks about recent attacks in Benue, saying forget the army or presidential visits, they change nothing. His solution, build ranches and stop open grazing. But here is where it gets even more tense. He warns that if Tinubu tries to enforce that, the North will push back, just like they have done before. He questions how a country can plan for citizens who keep moving around without record, and the biggest punch, he says it is not love or peace talks keeping Nigeria together, it is law enforcement and power structure, and sadly, both are missing right now. Guys, I will let you watch this video for yourself so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Take a look guys, and remember to share your thoughts after watching.
Let's tell ourselves the truth now, at least for once. See, I'm going to speak and a lot of people will think I'm speaking like a Biafra, but no, I want us to reason like analytical human beings. The fact is the division of Nigeria with all the indications on ground so far is inevitable. The division of Nigeria is inevitable without implementing the regional system of government. Okay, let's look at the indicators. Number one, the fact is the issue of national insecurity at the moment happens to be majorly a northern problem, right? You quite agree with me on that. And in that regards now, any government of the day, any president at the moment that is not of the northern descent or northern origin that tries to fix that, if he's hoping to come for a second tenure, I bet you he can succeed in that. You quite agree with me, right? And this is what I mean by that. Okay. In considering bringing into view now what happened recently in Benue, just the normal issue of farmers herders clashes as they call it, right? Okay. In fixing this kind of situations, now forget about the deployment of military, police, whatever the president coming to visit. You quite agree with me that that doesn't solve anything and it's not going to solve anything. The only thing that will solve that to some certain extent is we having a situation where there is ranches established for herders, right? That is to say, the herders must be in tune with changing times. Because you quite agree with me, there's no developed country you go to in this world today that you'll find a situation where animals wander all around. There is none. You can never find any developed country of that nature. But in so doing now, if the president of the day tries to enforce that, it's going to be rejected by the northerners to some certain extent, evidently clear even in the past, right? Considering the fact that these people are citizens or whatever, they are nomadic in nature, right? That has always been the conversation. They are nomadic in nature, so they move from places to places. And the fact is, I don't know where we're actually getting this. Okay, if you say you are nomadic in nature, how do you expect the government to account for you? Have you ever seen a country where you have citizens being nomadic in nature and the government can account for them and make budget for? So you see, the fact is, the herders must be in tune with changing times, but they are not ready for that. And even the politicians are not ready to have that conversation. Let's look at the issue of dialogue. We need to preach dialogue. we need to be accommodating. There's enough to share, Abi, according to Tinubu. But looking at it, you will quite agree with me that as far as this life, this nature is concerned now, people have metamorphosized over time, which is the fact that people no more just live because they want to embrace each other in love and peace and harmony. There are two things that guide and regulate the conduct of humanity. One, adequate enforcement of the law, even in developed countries. That is to say, you know that when you do this, this will happen. You must reap for it. You will go in for it. That makes people behave to some certain extent. Another thing that guides people's conduct is the fact that they must be subordinate and superior. Right? That is to say, in anywhere I live for there to be peace, is either they must be, you are the senior, I am the junior. So you know that when you try me, I will finish you, and me that knows that you are more powerful than me, I will not try you. Those are the things that keeps people in check. But if you think that we're going to sit down and be, in as much as we desire one Nigeria, we want to preach and we want to be all accommodating, we believe we're stronger together, but it's not the preaching of peace and love or whatever that keeps people together. These two indications are what keeps people together. And you quite agree with me to some certain extent, the two is missing. There is no adequate enforcement of laws. We are under-policed. Even the armed forces is overwhelmed, and a lot of other things. So what will keep people in check? So what we are fighting for at the moment is a situation where who is more powerful? Is it me, the Fulani man? Is it me, the Yoruba man? Is it me, the Igbo man? Or is it me, the Hausa man? The fact is, that must be sorted out. When it's sorted out, now everybody will know his position, and people now will just decide to keep quiet and whatever. Looking at it, when you now introduce our religious extremism in all aspects as well, that is evident in the country. You have a lot of radical Muslims, radical Christians. We're not ready to tolerate each other. The only thing that will make us tolerate each other, let's tell ourselves the truth, is the full implementation of the law and the adequate protection of the vulnerable. That is just it. And all these things are missing. So how do you tell me we are not going to divide? And the fact is, looking at it now, Tinubu will not dare go that way, right? Because by the time he tries to introduce that, okay, there must be establishment of ranches to curtail the free movement of the Fulanis, you quite agree with me that he is going to lose a lot of... the fact is, he's already losing at the same time as far as the North is concerned at the moment. And that is what will even bring the division closer in that regards. In the sense that Tinubu doesn't look like somebody that is ready to let go of the fact that this 8 years is his birthright. And at the same time, the Northerners are not ready to give it to him. So when you have a clash of the titans, Abi, that is what I refer to this 2027. Forget about this defection. Clash of the titans is going to definitely give birth to something. So with all these indications on ground, my brother, the issue of one Nigeria, we are going to get better, will remain nothing but a delusion, seriously. Let's face it now, there are two major factors at the moment that is not allowing the regional system of government to come into place. Not as if it's a bad idea, one, and secondly, not as if it's just one part idea that is talking about like the Igbos, either restructuring or division. You'll quite agree with me that to some certain extent, even the Yoruba man, even the typical Yoruba man believes in restructuring, and he can't wait to have restructuring because they feel they are tired of carrying other people's unnecessary burden. But they don't want to initiate that now because now they are person, they power. Abi? Now they are person, they power. So make it finish that 8 years first, just like other regions have done. And that is why you see the glamour coming mostly from the eastern part. So the two reasons are this. Number one, the 2027 presidential ambition, the 2027 ambition, because you quite agree with me that if restructuring is initiated now, that is to say, the power of the presidency will be drastically reduced. Secondly, and the possibility of him even coming back as the president will be affected, because it will be rejected by the northern politicians as well. In as much as the present system that the northern politicians are benefiting from is not the poor man, the poor northerner is not benefiting from it. But they have sold this idea to a lot of northern masses that were still short when it comes to infrastructure, and at the same time it's going to be at our disadvantage because we don't have enough resources. But hey, talking about the north, this is where you have a lot of mineral resources, one, and secondly, agriculture. You quite agree with me that as far as agriculture is concerned in Nigeria, the north happens to be number one. And at a point in time, even the whole nation at a point in time was fully dependent on agriculture, right? So how do you tell me that they will not strive if not for the ideologies that their politicians have sold to them in order to get cheap money from oil? That is one on that part. And in that regards now, if the northern politicians decide to say, okay, you are not coming back, nobody is voting for you, you know that is over. That is just it. And at the moment, the fact is, the president is still at disadvantage as far as the north is concerned. If you can read the political atmosphere of the north, you quite agree with me that this time around is going to be a different ball game entirely. Secondly, talking about the oil in Niger Delta, that is also one of the reasons. Because when you do restructure, the oil will now be left for the Niger Deltans, and that will be so much money for them to develop and make themselves better. Abi, easy money will go. So those are the variables. So, but when you talk about it now, it looks as if you are not patriotic. What? The fact is, forget it. All these interventions, as far as I'm concerned, towards addressing Nigeria issue are palliative measures. Palliative measures to big or permanent, to some certain extent, a long-lasting problem. So how do you deploy palliative measures to solve this kind of issue? The fact is, conclusively, as Nigerians, we have agreed that we will never agree with each other in terms of ideologies and in terms of a lot of other things. That is the truth we are not telling ourselves. Forget this. We may preach peace. The fact is, we may preach peace, tolerance to some certain extent, but there's a limit to that which that can do. The only thing that will checkmate this is the full implementation of the laws and the policies or whatever, and that which I don't see it happening anytime soon. They're talking about we're depleted in terms of military personnel, police personnel. How many, with the high level of corruption in the country, how many of security operatives and military personnel can the government recruit, fund, and adequately equipped at the moment to protect a number of 200 and something million people? That is a long walk, a very long shot. So let's tell ourselves the truth. Let's keep the delusion, please. Well, there is nothing I advocate further now more than even restructuring, which is embedded in regional system of government. And in doing that now, people will be allowed to decide where they want to belong, not a political division that you come and say you go here or go there. Seriously, so much in that.